lesson continues our emphasis on research basics by looking at citation. We're also looking at how we can avoid plagiarism and establish credibility by giving credit, this time with a focus on reference pages and reference citations. So by the end of this lesson, you will be able to explain what citing is and why we cite, explain when we cite in a paper, and use a citation generator to create correctly formatted MLA reference citations, as well as format those citations into an MLA standard reference page. Your keywords are citing, when to cite, specifically reference citations, and reference pages. Citation is quite simply the act of noting who created and where you found the information you use in your writing. We cite for two reasons. One, we want to build credibility. We want our reader to trust us and to believe us, and citing lets us build this credibility because our reader can then check up on our research, and that builds trust between the writer and the reader. We also cite to avoid plagiarism. Since we are borrowing the ideas and/or words of other people, we need to give credit where credit is due. This helps build credibility because it shows that we're honest and our readers can trust us. And it also shows respect for those creations that we are borrowing by giving that credit to the authors who created them. There are two times or methods that we use to cite when we are writing papers, and that's because we have two purposes. Each of these purposes requires that we cite in different ways at different points throughout our writing. The first way, which we'll talk about in another lesson, is in-text citations. These are the ones that go in our paper. But the one that we're focusing on right now are reference citations. These go actually at the very end of our paper to show where the information came from. But they're also the first citations we're going to make because we need to get the citation information down when we first find the source. So this citation type lets us build credibility by letting the reader find the source that we used. When it comes to creating our reference citations, they can be a bit tricky. Reference citations are actually the full set of information that someone needs to identify and find the source. So the author, the title, the publisher, the location of publication, the method of publication, the date of publication. If it was an online source, where you found it online, was it a regular website or was it a database? All of those kinds of things. Because it takes so much information, and because you could be citing from websites or books or databases, etc., the way you format and create a reference citation actually varies by the type of source. That makes a lot of possibilities, which means the easiest way to create accurate reference citations is to use a citation generator, such as NightCite. So this is NightCite, and you can see over here that you get to select your citation styles. Because we're dealing with an English class, we're going to use MLA, but if you were working with science or some other discipline, you might click APA. Do the source type that your instructor tells you to do in the assignment. Once you have your citation style picked out, you can come down to the type of resource. You can have a regular book, there's encyclopedias or dictionaries, works that come in a series, sacred texts like the Bible, the Quran, etc., all kinds of things in that capacity. Then you have anthologies. Anthologies are books with chapters in them, all types of options. So you would take and click the book that you were going to do or the type that you were going to do, and then you create your citation by coming over here and filling out your author information, etc. So in this field, we're going to say that the author's name is John Smith, and the title is 51 Ways to Write a Good Research Paper. We're going to say it's published by people who know stuff in 2018. And we're going to say that we only used pages 15 to 25. We're going to go with this one's a print book. So once you fill in all the information you have, you click Submit, and then it makes your citation for you. This is exactly what your book citation should look like. And we'll be able to use this by copying it with Control-C and then pasting it onto our reference page. So, having those citations means we do need to know a little bit about how to troubleshoot them. First off, if you have missing information, you don't have information. It doesn't exist for one of the fields that you need to fill in on the Night Cite generator. Just leave it blank. The citation generator will format the correct notation of that missing information if it needs one, or it'll just not be in the citation because it doesn't exist. That's fine. That's what makes the citation generator so useful. There is an exception to this. You have to at least have a title for your work. If your work has no author and no title and no publication dates or no other distinctive identifying information, you've got a problem. In fact, if the title is the only information your source has, it's probably not credible and you probably can't use it anyway. So if you're finding that you're missing most of the citation information, you need to either ask the teacher for help or find a different source, one of the two. Now we're going to look at how to turn those citations into a reference page. You're first going to create your citations using a citation generator. Then we're going to copy and paste the citations to the reference page. From there, we'll want to rearrange citations into alphabetical order and format the citations. So looking at each one, we already created the citation once. So we have one to just paste in there. And we'll go over here and start a new citation really quick so we can make one more. We're going to do an entire website. Most websites don't have known authors. Citing Papers 101 for this title of our made-up website. We're going to go with the smartest university as the publisher. Again, I'm making up citations as examples. A lot of times you won't have a specific date or you won't have more than a year, but we'll put that year in there. We're not going to include the URL since this is a made-up one. We did not find this one in a database, but you do need to include date of access. It will automatically put in the date that you do this. So then you click Submit. We have one more citation for our sample Works Cited page. Copy it, paste it. Now we have 2 citations, which means we need to go to our next step and put our citations in alphabetical order. To do that, just copy and select the one that you want, move it. If they end up on the same line, hit Enter. And now we're ready to format these citations. The easiest thing to do here is click Control-A to select everything. We want it all to be in Times New Roman. It needs to be font size 12. We need it to be double spaced, so we go to Format, Line Spacing, and Double. And we need to have hanging indents. These are the indentations where the first line stays on the left side, but the second is indented. And to do that, come up here to the top, drag the little triangle over to the 50 line, then drag the rectangle back. Voila, you have a properly formatted Works Cited page. Which means we are at the end of this lesson. Citations are giving credit for where our information came from, and our reference citations help readers to find the sources we use and thus build credibility, as well as helping us avoid plagiarism. We're going to keep practicing with reference citations. Have a good day.